I'm Dr. Marcie from Behavior and Beyond, where I bring you realistic ideas for the real life behavior you face. And this is Dr. Marcie Ask Me Anything. It's the time of the month where I slow things down and answer questions about the most challenging behaviors you face. I know it can be hard to ask for help, so here's my promise to you. You send me questions full of the most challenging behaviors you face, and I will answer them without sharing any of your personal information. Just like this email that I received from a parent. Hi, Dr. Marcie. Your behavioral guidance has given us a lot of relief in our family. Here's what we're still struggling with. Thank you. I'm so glad to hear that it's been helpful. How do we decrease our son's crying and screaming when he does not get his way? For example, he wants to leave the dinner table, but it's mealtime. I could go on. Please help. Thanks. I think that this is a very, very common situation, so know that you are not alone. Kids crying, and it doesn't say tantruming here, but I sort of equate that in order to get what they want is something that goes on in almost every home I've ever been in. So you're in good company. You also came to the right place because I have some telltale signs to help you with this problem behavior. The truth is, your small being is crying to let you know he wants his way. Now, the truth is, he can't always have it. So my guess is that that has not been communicated to him effectively, and that the crying has worked for him to be able to get his way. In the example you gave, if he cries enough at mealtime, even though you still want him there, eventually you let him go, because who wants a crying child at the table? As long as the behavior works, he'll continue to do it. So it might mean you committing to a little while with some long moments of crying, but then it will change. Here's what that would look like, and what it means is you need to get clear about the expectations you have for your small being. Make sure they're appropriate. I would never expect a 4-year-old to sit at the dinner table for 30 minutes calmly and quietly without any entertainment. I would expect a 4-year-old to sit at the dinner table for 5 minutes, even if they weren't eating dinner, and talking to a parent. That to me is a realistic expectation. So make sure your expectation is real. And then communicate that to your small beings. Way too often we have ideals in our head that we don't communicate to those around us. And if those around you don't know what you expect from them, they can't meet those goals. So if I expect a 4-year-old to sit at the table with me for 5 minutes, I'm going to let them know, we're going to sit down for dinner. You have to stay for 5 minutes. And to keep me honest and to make sure I'm clear, I take out my phone, I hit 5 minutes, I hit the start button, and then I put my phone down, face down on the table, so I'm not distracted by emails or messages coming in, because I'm sitting and having dinner. And so I put my phone down, the timer's on. That small being will then know when the timer goes off, we're going to have a conversation, or there's a possibility that they can ask to be done and leave the table. But I won't talk about it until then. They know the rule. I've made it clear. I've stated it to them. And then it's a matter of, for those 5 minutes, making sure they stay. Here's the trick if you're just getting started with this behavior. Make sure that the expectation you set is small enough so you know your small being can do it. I've had kids where we start at 1 minute. You just have to stay for 1 minute. I don't want you to get in a huge battle with your small being. I want them to learn. Crying doesn't get you out of the table. The timer going off does. Sitting for mealtime can be such a lovely moment if your small being's willing to agree. Then, once you've taught them the rule, you followed through. When the timer goes off, the timer goes off. If your small being is done eating, if they want to leave, let them go. Be clear about that. And also let them know that at whatever point from there forward, they can leave. Don't go changing the rules just because you're seeing a moment of good behavior, which sometimes happens with us as adults, right? We say you have to sit for 5 minutes. They sat so nicely that now we want another 5. That's not fair to them. And that would make me cry too if you kept changing the rules on me. So be clear, articulate it, make sure the rules are concrete, and then enforce them. If you make it to the end of the 5 minutes, your small being sat, they did a great job, celebrate that. Let them know they did a great job. Over time, you can gradually increase that number, right? You can go from 1 minute to 2 minutes. You can go from 2 minutes to 4 minutes, not in one sitting, but across many days, many weeks, and potentially many months, depending on how long that behavior has been in place. If your small being is still crying in certain situations, here's the thing. You're going to have to teach them that their crying doesn't get what they are looking for. So that means that if they've asked for something and you say no and they're crying, remind yourself the only reason they're crying is to get what they want from you, and tell yourself, I love you too much to let this be how you communicate with me. And don't give in. Be able to walk through that crying, which is so hard as a parent, but know it is in your small being's best interest. I hope this helps. I hope the crying in your family reduces. And thank you so much for taking the time to be with me today. I know your time is precious and you could have spent it in many places. Thanks for being here. Please send me your questions so that I can answer them. You can send them to info@behaviorandbeyond.net and put in the subject line questions for Dr. Marcie Ask Me Anything so I can make sure they get here and I can answer it for you. And then head over to my website, www.behaviorandbeyond.net. See all the other things that are happening and sign up for my mailing list. I send out behavioral tidbits every week that I think you might find helpful. And subscribe below. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me. Blue skies are ahead. Let's get there together.